It's common practice in the UFC for opponents to beef with each other publicly to hype up a fight. But sometimes that beef could turn into a heated personal rivalry, where the only way to settle matters is inside the octagon. But when there's no octagon in sight and two fuming fighters see each other in the same place, it could lead to a juicy headline the next day. Welcome to Sportskeeda MMA, where we will go through the top 5 brawls outside the octagon. But before we get into it, feel free to take screen caps as you go along, as there are many amazing visuals ahead. Now, let's get started. Number 5. Paddy Pimblett throws hand sanitizer at Ilia Topuria. In the lead-up to Paddy the Baddy's sophomore Octagon appearance at UFC London, a video surfaced that brought new heat in an already tense rivalry. Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria go into an intense exchange at the Canary Wharf Hilton. The video in question saw Topuria confront Pimblett, in which words were exchanged and a hand sanitizer bottle was thrown at Topuria's head. El Matador then threw a right hand in retaliation, prompting his team to hold him back. The exchange was punctuated with insults from both men, with Paddy asking Topuria if he thought he was scared of him. Topuria would then counter with "fuck you bitch," which prompted Pimblett to add, "What lad? Come here you little maggot." But this instance didn't come out of the blue. According to Topuria himself, the reason for the incident spawned back when Paddy tweeted this about Georgians back in 2021, but the tweet had since been deleted, with Pimblett apologizing for it. However, Ilia took it personally and decided to make a statement at UFC London when he delivered a stone-cold come-from-behind knockout over Jay Herbert. On the mic, Topuria called Pimblett a bitch in front of all of his countrymen. Paddy Pimblett won his fight on the same card by submission against Kazula Vargas, and later claimed that Topuria was just simply trying to ride on his coattails, and for all his effort, he only made $24,000 plus a performance bonus. Number 4. Jorge Masvidal gives Leon Edwards a 3-piece and a soda. Shortly after knocking Darren Till out cold in front of a sold-out London crowd during UFC Fight Night in 2019, Jorge Masvidal tried to do the same to another fighter. At the post-fight interview of his stunning upset knockout, Jorge Masvidal was speaking to Laura Sanko when UFC welterweight contender Leon Edwards appeared from behind a camera person. Edwards was reported to say something about he and Masvidal potentially fighting in July of 2019, when Masvidal stepped away from the interview, confronted Edwards, and gave him a swift combination that left Edwards with a cut on his cheek. Masvidal would go on to describe this as a 3-piece with a soda. The two fighters were then promptly separated. Both men were slated to fight at UFC 269, but Masvidal withdrew due to injury, and eventually the fight was scrapped. Leon Edwards didn't get the revenge he wanted, but he had this to say about Masvidal. "Disappointed, but honestly, I knew this fraud didn't want to fight me anyway. He was just a stop-off on the way to the title. The goal remains the same. Much needed family time now. At Usman 84 kg, I will see you soon." Leon Edwards is slated to fight Kamaru Usman during International Fight Week in July. Number 3. Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington Poppy Steak Ambush. The Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington rivalry took a stunning turn of events. From the bond they formed at MMA Gym American Top Team, to bitter allegations about refusing to pay a coach, and then a grudge match at UFC 272, which Covington won ultimately. A sneak attack took place at Poppy Steak in Miami Beach, Florida. Reports stated that Jorge Masvidal, wearing a blue surgical mask and a hoodie that covered his head, came up to Covington from behind and threw a sucker punch. This attack resulted in Covington having a chipped tooth, wrist abrasions, and $15,000 worth of damage to his $90,000 Rolex watch. Masvidal would then upload this video to social media shortly after the altercation, where he issued a challenge to Colby Covington. "I'm calling this the Show Your Face Challenge. What's up? I'm from Dade County. You talk that shit, you gotta back it up. That's how my city rolls, man." This began a social media shitstorm as MMA fans begged for footage of the video and notable UFC stars gave their take. Jorge Masvidal eventually surrendered to the police and was charged with felony battery in connection with the fight. However, it seemed like Masvidal was a man of his word when he stated prior to the incident that he's still somebody. "If I see him out on the streets, I'm going to give him everything I've got to break his fucking jaw." Well, in this case he chipped a tooth, but points for trying. Number 2. Chael Sonnen can't let Vanderlei Silva get close. Everyone's favorite uncle Chael Sonnen was once the most marketable fighter in the UFC. His sharp-tongued antics sold pay-per-views and gained many fans, but it also put him in deep shit with some fighters, most notably Vanderlei Silva. In the lead-up to his fight with the legendary Anderson Silva at UFC, Chael Sonnen used his signature trash talk to hurl every insult under the bus, which contained barbs towards his family. These were not quite well received by Brazilian fans, leading to multiple death threats, and Sonnen needed to be transported around Brazil by armored security in a bulletproof vehicle. Vanderlei Silva and Chael Sonnen were picked as the two head coaches for The Ultimate Fighter Brazil 3, and the two had not interacted much during its filming, prompting the production team to tell Vanderlei all the nasty things Sonnen had said about him in an attempt to incite some verbal banter. What resulted was Silva confronting Sonnen as the cameras rolled in one of the most hilarious interactions in TUF history. Silva would clap his hands in front of Sonnen screaming "wanna now," eventually leading to the iconic line, "I can't let you get close." Vanderlei swung at Uncle and the All-American took Silva down, and every fighter in the building rushed to break up the fight. Chael Sonnen and Vanderlei Silva were scheduled to fight each other on 3 separate occasions, but the bout never happened due to pullouts from both sides. Eventually, they met at Bellator 180 in 2017, 4 years after their appearances on TUF, where Sonnen won via unanimous decision. Number 1. Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedovs bus incident. One of the most notorious incidents in UFC history was revealed to MMA fans through an episode of Embedded, the UFC's promotional documentary-style series that comes before every pay-per-view card. UFC lightweight GOAT Khabib Nurmagomedov just finished doing media obligations with other fighters on the UFC 223 card, and they were all in a bus ready to leave, when suddenly Conor McGregor and his henchmen angrily stormed into the bus bay. McGregor would pick up a metal dolly and throw it at the bus, shattering the windows and injuring fighters Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg. The bus attack was a direct retaliation to when Khabib cornered Conor McGregor's teammate Artem Lobov for making unsavory comments on Khabib being a chicken. McGregor would later say to the media what would have happened if the bus doors were open. "This man would be dead right now. He would be in a box, and I would be in a cell." Khabib and McGregor would eventually fight at UFC 229, where Khabib would submit McGregor and promptly jump the cage to attack his cornermen in retaliation. Thank you for watching Sportskeeda MMA. For more, make sure to subscribe and follow us on all of our social media platforms.